Before we get into this disturbing and heart-wrenching story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into real-life cases that shock the world. This is one of the most disturbing crimes you'll ever hear about, and it didn't happen in a dark alley or an abandoned house. It happened in a place where trust should have been sacred. This is the horrifying story of Jimella Tunstall and the betrayal that cost her and her children their lives. In East St. Louis, Illinois, two girls grew up together in the same neighborhood. Tiffany Hall and Jimella Tunstall were so close they called each other sisters, even though they weren't related by blood. People who knew them said they were both quiet and shy. They liked to hang out together more than with other people. Both girls had tough lives growing up. Jimella moved from one foster home to another. It was hard for her to stay in school with all this moving around, but she found comfort in her friendship with Tiffany. They understood each other when no one else did. Tiffany had her own problems. By age 14, she was already in trouble with the law. She got in trouble for kicking her mom. At home, she had strict rules she kept breaking. She was always fighting with her family. Tiffany's mom, Beverly Cruz, once told a newspaper that Tiffany was hard to handle. She even told a story about how Tiffany set their kitchen on fire when she was a teenager. But despite all these problems, Tiffany and Jimella stayed close friends. Both girls became mothers when they were only 16 years old. Jimella had her first child, a boy named Demond, in 1999. Later, she had two more kids, Ivan in 2003 and a daughter named Jimella Jr. in 2004. Jimella had some trouble as a mom. At one point, she lost her kids because she hit her oldest son with a belt. The authorities took her children away, but she was determined to get them back. She took parenting classes and did everything she needed to do. Eventually, the authorities gave her children back to her. After getting her kids back, Jimella tried to make a better life. She bought a car with her tax refund money and started taking classes at a community college. She wanted to become a photographer someday. Tiffany also became a mom at 16. She had two daughters. But in 1999, something terrible happened. Let me explain this part carefully. In 1999, when Tiffany was still a teenager, something happened that changed her life. The authorities found out she was hurting her 2-month-old baby daughter. This wasn't just a spanking or normal discipline. It was serious abuse. People who saw Tiffany with her baby said the infant looked like a rag doll in her arms. The baby wasn't moving normally. This worried everyone who saw it. Police and child protection workers came to investigate. They found enough evidence that the baby was being badly hurt. Because of this, they took both of Tiffany's daughters away from her. This is called removing custody. It means the government steps in when they think children aren't safe with their parents. The baby girl who was hurt suffered serious injuries. These injuries had lasting effects. By the time this little girl was 7 years old, she still had to wear diapers. She couldn't talk properly. She mostly made sounds that were hard for people to understand. For about 3 years, Tiffany wasn't allowed to have her daughters living with her. Child Protection Services and the courts wanted to make sure she wouldn't hurt them again. Then in 2002, something changed. The district attorney, the lawyer who works for the government, decided not to charge Tiffany with child abuse. The Department of Children and Family Services also decided Tiffany was no longer a danger to her kids. So after 3 years apart, Tiffany got her daughters back. This was a big relief for her, a chance to be a mom again and start fresh. But sadly, that same year, Tiffany got in trouble again. At 23 years old, she was charged with having a stolen credit card. While Tiffany kept getting in trouble, Jimella was living a quieter life. She focused on keeping her kids safe in their tough neighborhood. She was very careful about her children's safety. Jimella rarely let her kids play outside without watching them. When they did go outside, she would sit on a milk crate by her door, keeping an eye on them the whole time. Her kids loved playing with a little green toy tractor. They shared it with other kids in the neighborhood. This simple toy brought them joy in their difficult surroundings. Every morning, Jimella walked her children to the school bus stop to make sure they got to school safely. By 2006, Jimella was 7 months pregnant with another baby girl. She was hopeful about the future and excited to welcome her new baby. Even though their lives were different, Tiffany and Jimella stayed friends. Tiffany often babysat Jimella's kids, even though she had problems taking care of her own children. Everything seemed okay between them, but that was about to change in a terrible way. On September 16, 2006, something strange happened. Tiffany called the police saying she had just given birth to a dead baby at Frank Holton Park. When she got to the hospital, things got even weirder. Tiffany wouldn't let the doctors check her body. This made the doctors suspicious right away. Police started asking her questions, but her story kept changing. First, she said someone had sexually attacked her. Then she said that didn't happen. Almost no one knew Tiffany was pregnant except her boyfriend, who was in the Navy. Doctors did an autopsy, an examination of a dead body, on the baby girl but couldn't find why she died. There were no injuries on the baby. After this strange night, Tiffany left the hospital, and the baby was taken to the morgue. What happened next was even more bizarre. Tiffany arranged a funeral for the baby, whom she named Tiffany Horn. The funeral was set for September 21st, just days after she showed up at the hospital. But the funeral was strange too. Just before it was supposed to start, Tiffany asked if they could move it to another day so more family members could come. This seemed odd because only 2 family members showed up anyway, and Tiffany herself arrived 2 hours late, something people don't usually do for a funeral they plan themselves. One of the few people who came was her boyfriend, Keith Horn. He had come all the way back from serving in the Navy because he thought the baby was his daughter. Meanwhile, everyone was getting worried about Jimella. No one had seen her or her kids for days. People tried calling her and messaging her, but she didn't answer. It was like she had disappeared. By the way, I post true crime stories and new cases here every day. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. After the funeral, something happened that broke the case wide open. Tiffany told her boyfriend Keith something that shocked him to his core. She casually mentioned that she had cut the baby out of her best friend Jimella's body. Keith couldn't believe what he was hearing. How could someone say something so horrible? Was she serious? He felt panic rising inside him. He knew he had to do something. Without waiting, he called the police. The police quickly found Jimella's body. It had been missing for 6 days. They discovered her hidden in tall grass near Tiffany's home. Even more disturbing, they found a pair of scissors near her body. The police arrested Tiffany that same night. While in police custody, Tiffany started telling them what had happened. On the day she brought the baby to the hospital, Jimella, who was 7 months pregnant, had been hanging out with Tiffany at Tiffany's mother's house in Belleville. But then Tiffany did something terrible. She hit Jimella in the head with a table leg, hitting her over and over until Jimella passed out. Once Jimella was unconscious, Tiffany tied her hands and feet with duct tape so she couldn't escape. At one point, Jimella woke up and tried to get free, but Tiffany hit her again and taped her mouth shut so she couldn't scream for help. Then Tiffany dragged Jimella's body to the bathroom. In a horrifying act, Tiffany used scissors to cut open Jimella's stomach. She wanted to take the baby from Jimella's womb. The most awful part is that Jimella was still alive during this. But she lost so much blood that she died from this terrible attack. After killing her friend, Tiffany tried to hide what she'd done. She wrapped Jimella's body in a shower curtain and took it to an empty lot behind her house. She left the body there like trash. What makes this even more disturbing is that Tiffany had been planning this for weeks. Just a week before killing Jimella, she bought things needed for delivering a baby: scissors, alcohol, and a bulb syringe, a tool used to clear a newborn's airways. She had been pretending to be pregnant, hoping her boyfriend Keith would come home from the Navy. When the news got out that Jimella was dead and Tiffany had been arrested, both families were shocked and heartbroken. Both mothers couldn't believe what had happened. Just when everyone thought things couldn't get worse, another horrible truth came to light. Jimella's 3 children were missing, and nobody knew where they were. The next day, Friday, September 22nd, the police went to Jimella's apartment. They wanted to find photos of the missing kids to share with the public, hoping someone would recognize them and help find them. The police had already talked to Jimella's partner, Ivan Collins. They needed more information from him. While investigating, they learned that Tiffany's own daughters were safe, but Jimella's kids were still missing. The police talked to Ivan again. He told them he had last seen the children 3 days earlier, on September 18th. When asked where they went after that, he said they had been with him before leaving with Tiffany that same night. This made the police even more worried. As they kept questioning Tiffany, she finally told them where the kids were. This confession led the police back to Jimella's apartment the next morning. But what they found was horrible beyond words. When they walked into the apartment, a terrible smell hit them, the smell of death. That's when they discovered the heartbreaking truth. The bodies of Jimella's 3 children were in the apartment. 2 were stuffed inside the washing machine, and 1 was in the dryer. They had been there for 5 long days. The police had actually been in this same apartment just the day before, not knowing the children's bodies were there the whole time. It was a chilling discovery that no one was prepared for. Now, let's look at what Tiffany did to the children. On September 18th, just 3 days after killing Jimella and taking her baby, Tiffany had more evil plans. She told Ivan a big lie. She said Jimella wanted her kids and her car. Because he believed her, Ivan let Tiffany take 7-year-old Demond, 2-year-old Ivan Jr., and 10-month-old Jimella Jr. Once she had the children, Tiffany told them it was bath time. But instead of giving them a normal bath, she drowned them one by one in the same bathtub where she had attacked their mother. Some reports say she gave the kids cough syrup first to make them sleepy. This would have made it easier for her to drown them. After killing the children, Tiffany put their bodies into the washer and dryer of Jimella's apartment. By this point, Tiffany had killed 5 people: her best friend Jimella, Jimella's unborn baby, and Jimella's 3 children. The police found the children's bodies naked, except for 1 child who still had underwear on. The strangest thing is that Tiffany never explained why she killed Jimella's children. This left everyone with so many questions. Why would someone kill their best friend? What could make a person hurt innocent children? Was Tiffany really pregnant, or was it all made up? Did she have mental health problems? The questions went on and on. Jimella's funeral was held on September 29, 2006. More than 700 people came to say goodbye. Friends and family shared memories about Jimella's bright smile, how happy she looked when talking about her kids, and how she got bored easily. People also remembered her children's personalities, bringing some warmth to this sad day. The community came together in an amazing way, raising more than $330,000 in just 3 days to help pay for funeral costs. At first, Tiffany was only charged with killing Jimella and her unborn baby. But as the investigation continued, 3 more murder charges were added for the children. Tiffany first said she was not guilty. This led to doctors checking her mental health. She started with a public defender, a free lawyer provided by the government. But when the state said they might seek the death penalty, she was given a new lawyer with experience in serious cases like this. His name was James Gomrick. One of Tiffany's lawyers said that while she was mentally fit to stand trial, she had serious mental health issues. Tests showed she had an IQ in the mid-70s, which is below average. What makes Tiffany different from other women who have committed similar crimes is that she already had her own children. Her daughters were just 7 and 8 years old when she committed these murders. On June 10, 2008, Tiffany was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of ever getting out. This was her punishment for killing 5 people: Jimella, her unborn baby, and her 3 children. But in September 2008, Tiffany tried to take back her guilty plea. She said her lawyer didn't do a good job defending her. The court said no to this request. In 2012, she filed another request asking for a new lawyer. She claimed her trial lawyers weren't good enough. This request was also denied, but Tiffany didn't give up. She strongly believed her lawyers didn't properly look into her mental health or whether she was mentally sound when she committed the crimes. In her request, Tiffany claimed her lawyer didn't even get her mental health evaluation paperwork until 2 days after she had already pleaded guilty. The report from a second doctor, who was supposed to check if she was sane when she committed the crimes, wasn't received until June 11, 2008. But Tiffany had already pleaded guilty on June 9th. An earlier report said she was fit to stand trial, but didn't check if she was sane when she committed the crimes. The second report showed that Tiffany had a long history of mental health problems starting from childhood. She had been in mental hospitals many times. Records from evaluations done after her plea showed she had several serious mental conditions: psychotic disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, mood disorder, bipolar disorder, and mild mental retardation. Because of all this, the court decided to reverse its earlier decision and allow Tiffany to keep fighting her case. Tiffany's request went through many changes, with new lawyers working on it throughout 2015 and 2016. They were given extra time to get it right. She even asked for another new lawyer, but that request was denied. Eventually, the court dismissed her request because it didn't meet the necessary requirements. But Tiffany wasn't done. She appealed this decision, saying her lawyer didn't do enough to fix the problems with her request. In 2020, Tiffany finally won her appeal, giving her another chance to file for relief. It looks like Tiffany's case might stay in the appeals process for a long time. But at least Jimella's family can find some comfort knowing she's in prison. Now 42 years old, Tiffany is being held at Logan Correctional Center in Lincoln, Illinois. One source mentioned that Jimella's stillborn baby girl was dug up and reburied next to Jimella and her 3 other children in Mount St. Mary Cemetery in Illinois. Tiffany Hall's case is one of the most disturbing crimes ever committed. It reminds us that no matter how well we think we know someone, we can never truly know what they might be capable of doing. So now we ask you, is life in prison enough for what she did? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you like how we make these videos and want to help us bring more cases like this to light, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime. This case shows us how easily trust can be broken. Jimella Tunstall was just trying to make a good life for her children. She trusted Tiffany, who she thought of as a sister. But that trust led to the deaths of her and her children. While we may never understand why Tiffany did what she did, her story shows us how dangerous untreated mental illness can be. The system failed Jimella and her children, and maybe it failed Tiffany too, whose mental health problems might have been treated earlier. As we think about this case, we have to ask hard questions. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Do we do enough to help people with serious mental illness? How do we balance justice for victims with understanding the complex reasons why people commit terrible crimes? These questions don't have easy answers, but they're important to think about as we try to make sense of senseless violence and prevent similar tragedies. Thank you for watching this difficult but important story. Remember, by understanding these dark chapters of human behavior, we might be able to prevent similar stories in the future. Until next time, stay safe and remember to look out for one another.